Hello, CTO Demonettes. Welcome to the channel. Now, those of you who follow the channel will know I've changed my phrase. I usually say, welcome CTO Demon channel friends. Upon the suggestion of my daughter, she tells me that nowadays YouTubers usually use a cute little phrase like CTO Demonettes. So, my dear CTO Demonettes, how do you like this phrase? Leave a comment below. Let me know. Today, I'm not going to talk about CTO technique or algorithm or safety, but I want to talk about CTO related strains and injuries that the operator may have. Now, probably it's helpful for some of you because some of you might have the same kind of pain or injury. Now, the back pain is very common. And very early on in my CTO career, I realized this as I watched my sensei fold over himself to stretch his back after a CTO case. So I've been working quite hard to keep my back flexible and my core strong through almost daily exercises to keep me free from back pain. And touch wood, I haven't had much back pain in my CTO career, but what I have instead is the CTO ankle. Now, the CTO ankle, some of you may have this and suddenly realize, oh, there's such a thing as a CTO ankle. It is. The right ankle, the inside part hurts after a long CTO. It also hurts after I rollerblade, okay? So it's not entirely due to CTO, but a long CTO case, my right ankle will hurt. But you know how CTO interventionists are. We are kind of like cowboys. If we go for a shootout and we get shot through the stomach, we'll say, it's just a little scratch, no problem, while we're bleeding from our liver, really. We tend to underplay these things. If we have back pain, we carry on and do the next case. If our ankle hurts, we just try to struggle along and keep going because that's the kind of people CTO interventionists generally are. But it's not healthy, okay? It's not healthy. So recently I went to Australia to visit my previous fellow in the Prince of Wales Hospital, Mohammed Al-Omari, at the Newcastle area just outside Sydney. And they have a wonderful path just before this beautiful beach. So I couldn't help myself. I rollerbladed up and down that several times. And when I went to Sydney for the Epic meeting, I also rollerbladed around Centennial Park. So I think I did almost 27 kilometers in like the course of 2-3 days. And my ankle was really killing me. And so after I got back to Hong Kong, I was struggling doing cases because my ankle was hurting so much. And so I decided to seek some help. And I asked DeepSeek. And DeepSeek came up with the diagnosis that this is posterior tibial tendonitis. DeepSeek is pretty good. Now, what is the posterior tibial tendon? This is the tendon that runs from the calf down the medial side of the ankle, just under the medial malleolus, and connects to the bottom of the foot. And it hurts when we put strain on it continuously. It's a compression tendonitis, and it becomes inflamed. Now, you can recognize it if you have it, if after doing a long CTO case, you can feel pain and it's tender just below that ankle bone on the inside curve of your ankle. Now, it turns out doing CTO is really bad for this tendon. The reason is when we do CTO, we tend to put our left foot on the pedal and we put our right foot at the back, which means when we're pressing the pedal, our foot is quite light. So most of our body weight, including our lead, is on our right foot. Also, the patient is on our left-hand side. So when we're trying to push gear into the patient, which often happens when you're doing CTO, whether it's a Corsair or a guiding catheter, you tend to lean towards the left, which means you're putting your weight, the weight of your lead, and more than its fair share of body weight onto your right foot, but your ankle is kind of everted because you're pushing your body weight forward. And that puts all the strain on this poor old posterior tibial tendon and causes it to inflame. Now, why am I sharing all this to you? Because it's actually very easy to treat. So the conventional treatment, icing, anti-inflammatories, resting it, works very well. I spent one day, I iced it every 6 hours, apart from when I was asleep. Put ice on it for about 22 minutes or so until it feels numb. And I took some naproxen. Naproxen is a cowboy non-steroidal, but you can use other less harmful non-steroidal. I just happened to have naproxen next to me at that point. So I took some naproxen, and a couple of days later, I was walking on ankles that didn't hurt at all. It's fantastic. So I'm hoping, if you have it, you can also for the first time in a long time, feel an ankle that doesn't hurt. And it's fantastic. I'm walking around these days, and I think it's been almost 15 years since I've walked around on an ankle that didn't hurt at all. So it's marvelous. But the other point, apart from icing it and anti-inflammatory, is resting it. Now, you can rest it in 3 ways, okay? One, of course, you can reduce the amount of strain you put on it, and that you can do by doing less time on the cage. So get your fellow to put the guiding in and put the microcatheter down the artery. Once you cross the CTO body, get your fellow to take over, and you can sit out or sit in a chair in the cath lab, and that will take the pressure off the tendon. You can also reduce the amount of strain by changing the way you do your CTO. So what you can do really is to use your right foot on the pedal, and that's what I've been doing really in the last few days, and put your weight on your left foot, and then that will reduce the amount of strain you put on that right foot ankle tendon. And the third thing, of course, is you can get support so that the tendon doesn't take all the weight. You can get arch support soles into your cath lab boots, which I have already. So because I'm a bit flat-footed, so I already have some arch support. So that will also reduce the amount of strain on the tendon, resting the tendon. That's very important. So rest, ice, and anti-inflammatory. But after it settles down, when it's no longer tender, usually it takes a week or two, then you need to strengthen the muscles. So you need to do some exercises, just like for the back, to keep it from getting into trouble again. And basically, the exercise you want to do really is to strengthen the calf and strengthen this particular tendon. So the very easy to strengthen the calf is to do heel tiptoe, to stand on tiptoe. Usually at the moment, what I'm doing is really I'm trying to face the wall and put my hands on the wall and then stand on one feet and then move into the pointed toe position and then come back down, sort of taking about 6 seconds for every rep and doing around 20 reps for set and doing about 3 sets every other day or so. You need time for the muscle to rest too. And also you can use an elastic band and try to pull it again. But anyway, other people have covered this material much better. So if you want to know more about it, do check out other YouTube channels on probably run by better physiotherapists who will tell you about how to treat the posterior tibial tendonitis. But so this has really transformed my ankle, and but of course we need to continue to care for these tendonitis. We need to keep our minds on it, and if we strain it really badly after a case, we want to ice it immediately so that it doesn't get inflamed for a long time. So your care for your body is a very important part of being a CTO interventionist. So I hope that not only you do successful CTO cases, but you become a healthy and not hurting CTO interventionist in the future. So best of luck again in your CTOs, and the best of health for your CTO operator. Bye-bye.